Thank you, John. Thank you to the economists for gathering us. I think it's very important that we can talk together. I'm really pleased to meet again Savas, that I actually welcomed in the office a few months ago, just a few months ago, but it appears it's like ages actually with all what happened since we met. Thank you, Zurab. I know that you are in contact with our ministry quite often, and thank you for all your support. Thank you to bringing also innovation also to the answers of this critical situation that we are just facing altogether. I'm glad also to see Rita Marquez. Portugal is very dear to me, I must say, and I think it's very important to show that we have to pool our energy to build new answers to that critical situation. And that will be my message, actually. Of course, we are building each of our country national answers. And we are in Paris just a few days after the Prime Minister has chaired a vast meeting of his ministers where we announced actually a recovery plan for tourism of 18 billion euros, so quite a massive budgetary effort to support this crisis. We are pulling our energy also to build new sanitary protocols, also to help hotels, restaurants, parks, bars, and all the actors of tourism to be able to reassure the sanitary conditions of their welcoming in all the territory. We are preparing a national revival and transformation plan for the sector, and this is very important. But what is really important also in this situation is really to, as Sava said, there shouldn't be no competition. Because actually we have to face the same challenge to tourism, and we know that tourism, this is the meeting of one offer, and we have different offers. This is true, and we have complementary offers. Our landscapes, our histories, they are complementary, and they make to a large part what is Europe. But also in the same time, this is the result of mobility. And what we see now is that tourism is such dependent on flows that tourism is losing this capacity of creation added value in our economies because the flows are so slow or they're not existent. So we have to think together how to better coordinate our plans to reestablish the flows between our countries, between our territories. Just right now, this afternoon, the ministers for tourism, they're meeting at the EU level, and together with the Home Affairs ministers, they have really to consider how to reestablish also this vast space of free movement that is Europe, that is the space, the Schengen space, and we have to think how we're going to lift gradually the internal borders in Europe, and that is very important to do it on the basis of a few criteria. The European Commission has done a good job last week by presenting 5 communications. One of them is about the border controls, and that is something that we have to work together on, simply because we have to rebuild this trust. I think a few of us, we've mentioned how important trust is important, because we are talking of something that is critical on economic, obviously, and in France, tourism accounts for approximately 8% of the national GDP, 2 million jobs. But as Zurab mentioned a bit earlier, this is also a deep social footprint, and that is the reason why tourism is also so political, so cultural, and we see with this crisis how policy in the sector of tourism brings so many ministers together. We are talking with the cultural minister, the economic minister, with the home affairs ministers, with the foreign ministers. And that is the reason why we now consider that there are so many coordination that we have to do in our countries, and that's a challenge. But we have to do it also with other countries at the European level, but also at the world level. So I think naming the challenges, that is also very important. How are we going to reestablish health reinsurance to build this trust for the people, for the workers in the tourism industry? How are we going to support for business also? That is the second challenge. And to make it also considering that we have to do it through fair lines because we have to be partners better than competitors. And also this is a very good timing also to rethink the future of tourism. We know that we have progresses to make for digitalization, to make tourism more sustainable, and the digital and the sustainability challenges, these are also challenges that are common, and we have to bring new answers together. And so this time of crisis should not be a time where states and nations should work nationally, but they should work really in a spirit of cooperation at the European and international levels. And that's the reason why I really welcome this initiative of The Economist.
Thank you.